All right, so today we're diving into some homebrew. And not just any homebrew. We're talking about mental armor.
Yeah, this is pretty cool stuff.
This is some next level D&D, right? Like, imagine you're facing down a mind flayer.
Yeah.
Tentacles writhing, the whole bit, and you're not just panicking, you've got defenses.
Right. Yeah.
You're ready for the psychic onslaught. It's like, in a world where magic can just pluck thoughts from your head, mental armor, this is how you fight back.
Yeah, it's psychic resilience.
Okay, so how does this whole mental fortress thing actually work in the game?
So the source material, it's smart about it, recognizes that building up these mental defenses, it can't be effortless, right?
Right.
So it takes concentration.
Which, for those maybe not as familiar with D&D, that means it's not passive. You're actively using your mental energy.
Yeah. You're flexing a muscle, but it's for your brain.
Right. Okay.
And it's the document is pretty clear that maintaining this mental armor is something you're always doing. However, very cleverly, it leaves these little gaps for, edge of your seat moments.
Oh, interesting. So, like, if you're, getting ambushed by a bunch of goblins,
Exactly.
And you're too busy grabbing your sword to,
Are you really focused on your mental defenses at that point?
Right.
So it's up to the DM to really decide how always on this really is. Were you caught completely off guard, or did you have a moment to prepare?
I like that.
That's what keeps it exciting.
Okay. So anyone can learn this feat, right? But the source mentions that riders, people who ride mounts, they have an edge.
Yeah.
What's the thinking there?
Well, I think it implies a very fascinating backstory element, right?
Okay.
Imagine the kind of mental discipline that you would need to control a powerful mount. I mean, it's not just about physical strength.
Right.
It's about unwavering focus, mental fortitude.
So it's like their training sort of lends itself.
Exactly.
That's really cool. Okay, but how do you actually build this mental fortress? Like, what are the building blocks?
Okay, so think of it this way. You need a focal point, an anchor for your mental defenses, right? This could be a cherished object, a powerful memory, or even just like a deeply held belief.
So it's not just mechanical, it's tied to their personality, to their history. That's amazing.
And then on top of that, you then choose to enhance one of your abilities, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. And this becomes key for how you actually resist mental attacks.
So that's your mental AC, mental armor class?
Exactly.
How tough your mind is to crack. But it's more than just a number, right?
Absolutely. Each one of those attributes reflects a different approach to mental defense.
Okay.
So a high intelligence might suggest a mind like a steel trap, right?
Okay.
Deflecting intrusions with logic and complexity.
Whereas someone with high wisdom might be more like, I don't know, a spider sensing vibrations on its web.
Yes, exactly.
They're aware of these intrusions before they even...
Very much in tune with what's going on.
And then charisma.
Charisma, yeah.
Yeah.
That force of personality, right? They simply refuse to be dominated. Their mental defenses are bolstered by sheer willpower.
Each choice adds such incredible depth. Like, you're not just picking a stat.
You're defining your character.
You're defining how your character approaches mental combat. This is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've built up these incredible mental defenses.
Right.
This fortress of willpower.
Yeah.
But a good defense.
Yeah.
It's nothing without a counterattack. You don't just hide in your castle when the orcs attack.
Exactly.
You got hit back.
A strong mind is not passive.
Right.
It meets these challenges head on. And that's where the offensive capabilities of mental armor, I think, really shine.
Yeah, and the source material calls these bonus actions, right?
Yes.
So, like, mental jabs that you can sort of slip in.
Quickly,
Right.
almost instinctive maneuvers.
Okay, can you break those down for us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've got counter, which is tied to intelligence. Imagine like a cunning mage using their knowledge of enchantments to deflect a psychic attack, right? Almost turning their own magic back on itself.
Oh, so it's not just about having a high intelligence, it's about using your tactical mind.
Exactly.
To outmaneuver your attacker.
It's about being a step ahead in the mental chess match.
Okay, I like it.
And then we have defensive probe, which is linked to wisdom. So think about a monk who's spent years honing their awareness, right? They sense the subtlest shift in their opponent's thoughts. They anticipate the attack before it even lands.
So they're feeling out the enemy's mind, looking for weak points.
They might even be able to glean a little bit of information about what their attacker is thinking or intending to do.
Wow. So it's not just blocking, it's gathering intel.
Exactly.
That's really cool. Okay, and then we have eject, which is fueled by charisma.
Eject. Oh, yeah. This one is fascinating. This is like, picture a bard brimming with confidence, force of personality, facing down a fear demon.
Oh, okay.
Right? As the demon tries to plant those seeds of doubt, the bard meets its gaze with unwavering conviction. It's like they out charisma the fear.
Yeah.
They banish it with sheer force of will.
So they can like talk back to a psychic attack.
Exactly.
That's so cool. And it really speaks to the power of charisma, not just as like a social skill.
Yes.
But as this measure of mental fortitude.
Absolutely. These bonus actions add such a dynamic layer to this whole mental combat.
Yeah.
It's not just about who has the higher numbers right.
Right.
It's how your character, with their unique blend of skills and personality, chooses to fight back.
It makes you wonder how these different approaches would work against different kinds of attacks.
Oh, absolutely.
What works against a mind flayer might not work against.
A charm spell or whispers from some kind of malevolent entity.
Right.
It adds a whole new dimension to your strategic thinking.
Definitely. But even the strongest mind needs a break.
Of course.
It's to like catch its breath.
A moment to recuperate.
And that's where focus and restore mental armor come in.
Exactly.
It's like taking a minute in the middle of this psychic storm.
Yeah, focus is like you're doubling down on your defense.
Oh, okay.
Right. You know something big is coming. You're shoring up those mental walls.
Bracing for impact.
And then restore mental armor is about recovering after a particularly grueling encounter. Your mind, like any muscle, needs time to mend after being pushed to its limits.
This is so much more intricate than I ever imagined.
Right.
This is cool. So we've got these amazing tools, right?
Yeah.
For mental defense, for mental offense. But it makes you wonder, like, what kind of threats would make a player say, okay, I'm taking mental armor as my next feat.
Right. It hints at this whole world of possibilities.
Right.
The source mentions mages and similar psychics, I think was the phrasing.
Okay.
As being sort of the usual suspects when it comes to mental intrusion.
Okay.
Which tells us that magic in this world, it's not all like fireballs and illusions, right?
They can target you.
It's much more insidious.
In a much deeper way.
Absolutely.
Suddenly that harmless spellcaster lurking in the shadows.
Yeah, they're a little more terrifying.
You got to watch out for them.
Yeah, you got to think twice.
Makes you think about like the power dynamic, right?
Absolutely.
Like a heavily armored fighter, suddenly they might be looking at the wizard who can deflect a psychic attack and be like, man, I wish I had that.
Right. It really shakes things up.
Yeah, it's like the document is whispering to us saying like, hey, there's this whole other layer to this world.
Yeah.
Like this psychic battlefield where willpower is as important as, a sharp sword.
It changes everything.
It's really exciting. And just imagine the storytelling possibilities.
Oh my gosh, endless.
Right. You're venturing into the Underdark. You're facing mind flayers.
Of course.
With their soul-rending psychic powers, or...
What about hags?
Oh, yeah.
The curses in their bargains.
Mental armor would be a good thing to have.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Or just like those classic moments where a character gets charmed or possessed.
Right.
Suddenly those encounters they're not just a given anymore.
Absolutely.
Come down to their willpower.
Exactly.
To their ability to resist.
It's a battle of wills at that point.
So for anyone listening out there, if you're thinking about trying mental armor in your own games...
Yes.
Don't just think about the mechanics, right? Think about the stories that this feat unlocks.
Exactly.
What does it mean for your world, for your characters?
How do they train for this?
To have this kind of power. What are their weaknesses?
It really opens up a whole can of worms in a good way.
This has been a wild ride.
This is a fun one.
It's not just a feat. It's like this invitation to a whole new dimension of D&D.
I like that.
And honestly, I can't wait to see what you all do with it.